Okay, I'm getting ready to pull the pitman arm off of the steering box because in order to order a box, you have to count the splines on here to see which one I need. There's a 33 spline and there's a 32 spline. 33 spline is cheaper than the 32 spline, so I'm guessing I have a 32 spline because of the heavy duty 1 ton. Anyway, I gotta pull it off. Figured you guys would want to see this. This is the puller I'm going to use to pull this off with. This is pretty much a must. You are not going to beat these arms off the steering box. First thing I had to do is there's a rubber boot here, and I had to push that down with a screwdriver. Otherwise it will not fit over there. And I'm going to take this, slide this in there over the deal, and get the impact out and pop this arm off. Okay, hopefully you can see I've got 19 millimeters is what goes on this. Got my puller tight here, and I'm gonna pop her off here. Before I do that, I'm gonna put some lubricant. I'm gonna put some lube on these threads and right there where it contacts, just to help everything not get bound up. There she goes. Hopefully you saw that. She takes a lot of pressure to pop her off, but now I can count my splines. Okay, I'm going to get a close up of the splines I'm counting. Those are the splines you got to count. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I got 32, but let's give her a count. Okay, so it looks like I got a 33 spline gearbox that come out of my truck, and this one I got here, this used one, is actually a 32 spline gearbox. Would it have worked? Probably. Actually, this one here looks like more of a heavy duty gearbox than that other one, but okay, here's the deal. That's the box I took out, and you can see I got the pitman arm off. That is a 33 spline box, and the parts store actually has that box in stock. And for 160 bucks, and that's with a core. You gotta have a core because it gets expensive without a core. Okay, this one here is the one I picked up used. I talked about it in my first video, how it was kind of binding up when it got back to center, and I was trying to adjust it so it wouldn't bind up. I took this apart, and there's a couple reasons I want to use this box over the one that came out. This box is actually a 32 spline box, and they have to order this one in. And this box is 260 bucks with a core. And you can see how it's made. It looks heavier dutier than than this one here, than the one that came out of my truck. So I would really like to use this box in my truck. It'll save me some money, and like I said, this box looks heavier dutier than the box I have, and judging by the price, I would say it is heavier dutier than the box my truck came with. So in order to use this and not have problems, I took it apart. And this thing, how this comes apart is this goes on here like this, and this screws into this center deal right here, and that's how you set the, let me get some light here, and that's how you, those gears right there, this screw right here moves that up and down, I guess, back and forth on that gear in the box there. That's what that sets when you turn that. Anyway, got it apart here, and trying to figure out the problem, and really I don't think there was any problem, but it's been sitting for so long that there's no lube on those gears. I sprayed a little WD in there and spun the box with a wrench here, and it spins over just fine. So I'm thinking there really is no problem with this box. It's just there's no lube in there, and it was just kind of binding in the gears there. So I have flushed this thing out as good as I can flush it out, because there was a little bit of crud in there. I'm guessing normal crud from sitting, and probably all steering boxes are going to build up crud. So anyway, I'm going to put some power steering fluid in there to lube it up. I'm going to reinstall this cover here. This is aluminum, and you can see it's got an O-ring seal instead of a gasket. I'm going to lube that up and reinstall this, and readjust this screw here and see if it don't turn better. And if it turns fine, I'm going to try to use this box, because like I said, it looks heavier dutier to me, and I'm going to see if I can't use this one. I got hoses on order. I got a new return and a new pressure hose. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. I was told they were going to be here today, but they never showed up or something. So hopefully the guys ordered the right ones. And gonna get this one back together, see how smooth she works. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna roll with this. I got this together, put a little power steering fluid in there to lubricate everything, spun it with my wrench here. There's a little bit of resistance when it goes to center, but I think that's normal. So this box is going in. I'm going to set it up in there, see if she fits. I'm almost positive. I'm 98% sure this is just gonna bolt right in, no problems. I've got it straight, centered, just like when I took the first, or my original box out. So this should be good to go. I will turn my wheels if I have to line my steering shaft up with this, because the steering shaft hasn't moved, steering wheel hasn't moved, and so I will line this up to the steering wheel. Should bring everything back to exactly where it was when I took the old one out. In theory, this should all work, so I'm gonna get this back up in there, and we will see how this goes here. Okay, the steering box is back in the truck. You can see I got my Cognito brace back on. Everything bolted up just like the other one. Steering column, shaft, and the pitman arm, and everything so far is gone together the same as the other one. Waiting on the hoses, so they should be here tomorrow, and I can put them in. The steering wheel feels stiffer when I'm turning it here, but I mean, I think that's a good thing, but I really won't know how this turned out until I can fire it up. I gotta bleed the system now because I broke it open, and I won't know until it's actually running if that tiny bit of play I had in my steering wheel is gone. So I guess I'm just waiting on hoses. I'll install them when I get them. Okay, finally got my power steering lines I've been waiting for. You got the return, which just has a rubber hose on it with a clamp. It is steel. It goes to the steering box. Then I got the pressure hose, and this hose goes from the steering box to the hydro boost. And there is one clamp that holds this on under here. Okay, here's the one clamp that's holding the pressure hose from the gearbox to the hydro boost. It's right there. We got a 13mm bolt on the back side there. It's just holding, just holds that line to the frame there. And mine came out pretty easy. A reference of where that is, that's straight behind, almost straight behind the shock mount, the top of the shock mount. And that holds the power steering hose. It holds the pressure hose. And that's this one right here. Right here. And it goes up. It's right there. It goes up, up. And if I get some light here. And it goes to right there on the hydro boost. So my camera will focus. I gotta take that line off right there, and I'll be ready to drop in the new lines. Okay, got that line out. I got that line off. That's 16mm up top here. And I snaked it down out through the fender. Seemed like the easiest way to go. Then I had to come out through the hole right there, because there's a long hard piece, and those two brake lines right there kept it from coming out this way. So you gotta snake it out that way. And there it is. It does have some wetness there on that deal, but I don't know if that was leaking or something else is leaking. But there was a spot that didn't look very good on here, but right there. But I don't know. It's just, I figure it's easier just to replace these now with the steering box. Okay, I got two empty bags now, and my power steering system is buttoned up. They give you new O-rings for the ends, this is the old end I twisted off. They give you new O-rings. You want to lube them with new power steering fluid so you don't wreck them. And I'm getting bit by a mosquito. Give you a few tips on how this goes in. Give you a visual so you can see. Okay, right there is where the return line is. It's a little blurry, everything won't focus, but that's the clamp. It's the normal factory type clamp that they always have. You gotta squeeze and pull out. So that's where the return line goes, and you follow it and it goes down to it's the top one on the power steering gear. Okay, the pressure line is the bottom one. And that one, like I said, I fed it in from the fender, and it goes right there to the hydro boost, and that's 16 millimeter for some reason. And they changed the return line to 19 millimeter on the fittings. I don't know why they would change them. One thing you're going to want to do is you got to put the return line in after you put the pressure line in. You see the pressure line goes underneath the return line there. So you got to put the pressure line on first, then you can put the return line. And I guess that's it. To feed them in there, I wrap the ends with a piece of paper towel, and then I tape them on so I don't get no debris in the lines. Another thing is I blow the lines out with some air just to make sure there's no crud or nothing that got inside the line, so everything's clean. And I spilt power steering fluid all over. I gotta clean the truck up. I got coolant everywhere and everything, so hopefully this box will work out for me, and this will solve my little bit of play I got in my steering, and got some new lines and stuff, so should be good. And wasn't really that bad of a job when you consider what it was and how rusty it is under there and stuff. So I guess that's it for this job. I'm gonna move on to the next one, which is probably the block heater, which I got a new one of that. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.